we are still, 12 years have passed, almost $500,000 is lost. If you add up just interest on that amount of money that's been lost, 12 years have passed, almost $500,000 is lost. If you add up just interest on that amount of money that's been lost by the victim, but it adds up to a person paid back. Probably $100,000 or more. But I want the person paid back.
How you doing? Well, that was one fine stretch.
They just bought paper too. They just missed you.
How you doing? Well, that was one fine stretch.
Judge, we made a request about they just missed you.
All right, 22-4105.
Judge, we made a request about a couple of items and you can clarify.
The state of Texas versus Sabrina Gallagher. 22-4105. The defendant pleaded guilty and was placed on probation. The state of Texas versus Sabrina Gallagher. A large restitution amount.
Yes, Judge.
The defendant pleaded guilty and was placed on probation.
And what our agreement was that she would have 6
large
months
restitution amount
to make a substantial. What our agreement, Judge, just to refresh the court, and then what our agreement was that she would have 6 months. I believe she made that make some payment. Then she was substantial monthly payments, $50,000 payment, and then
125.
I think, and that she would maybe wasn't when she made that case of payment, then she would make monthly payments for our agreement. And so we want to just clarify that with probation. I think that was our agreement. Maybe wasn't adequately communicated to probation, obviously given the nature of the agreement. And so we wanted to just clarify that with probation that was our agreement. Obviously, given the nature of the sum.
How you gonna do? Good? Okay. Because if you say it, you'll be fine. But how you gonna do? Good?
Given the nature of the sum, Judge,
if you say
that was part of our agreement.
you'll be
6
fine.
months ago with that.
But yes.
And so we just want to clarify with that with probation and make sure 2 other requests regarding her. That was part of geographic restrictions again with that.
Yes.
And so we just want to clarify with that with probation. We had 2 other requests regarding her addressing geographic restriction. Judge,
it's in this memo, right?
Yes.
Okay. Then I've highlighted it.
Okay, perfect. So just to summarize the address,
Go ahead.
her son plays Judge her the band.
It's in this memo, right?
Yes.
Okay. Then I've highlighted it.
Okay, for permission. So just to summarize transportation for her son plays from those games, obviously given schedule to probation, so that they'll know we're asking for when it is and what it is, and to be transportation with her son appropriate times to attend those games, obviously given the schedule to probation, so the question relates to when it is and what it is, and she would be in compliance with right on the appropriate times to attend those games. The other request relates to Chambers County, so we're asking for restitution right on the to be able to travel within Jefferson County, obviously, and where she lives, but also Chambers contiguous county. So we're asking for permission for her to be able to travel within Jefferson County, obviously, where she lives, but also the contiguous counties around.
Does she have a job that she's working at that she has to travel for?
Chief's day-to-day probation as a second job, doing deliveries.
Does she have a job that she's working at that she has to travel for?
Chief's delivering. As she just said, you are opposite of predicting where the results is going to be. So, favor.
All right. Has anything been paid toward restitution?
She just said you are opposite.
She made one payment on the 6th in amount of $52.
All right. Has anything been paid toward restitution? All right.
She made one payment on the 6th in amount of $52.
Where it begins. All right. One thing is, was this whole thing was where it began. She's placed on deferred or unadjudicated probation for one thing, embezzling almost $500,000. This whole thing was fashioned. She's placed on deferred or unadjudicated probation beginning over a decade ago. Embezzling, we done almost $500,000. Charge interest, which this money the feds did was lost beginning over a decade ago. In the federal government, I thought that was a more charge interest way of treating victims, which the feds did. But we are still, I'd always, when I was 12 years in the federal government, I thought that was half a million fair way of treating victims. If you add up just interest on we are still amount of money that's been lost. 12 years in the past, it adds up to $1 million is lost. If you add up just interest on that amount of money that's been lost by the victim, but it adds up to a person paid back. They're not getting interest. $100,000, and we're waiting on your terms. I don't like them. But I don't like the person paid back. They're not getting interest. And we're waiting on your terms. For you. I don't like the victims in here. I don't like it. And I'm not satisfied that you're sorry for you. I feel sorry for serious about this. But once again, you've made $50 payment in 12 years of loss. Satisfied that you were pilfering back in 2014. But once again, you've made $50 payment in 12 years of loss. You were pilfering back in 2014 from these people. I'm not happy. I feel sorry for them. And I don't feel like my job is being done effectively when victims do not get reimbursed. I feel sorry for them. Expedient. And I don't feel like my job is being done effectively when victims do not get reimbursed.
It was a carefully crafted agreement.
What are we waiting on?
The funds to.
What are we waiting on?
The funds together so that we could make that payment.
When
it was carefully
is that going to start rolling around? What are we waiting on?
That was what we had planned to do. That's what we agreed to do. That's what the funds together so that we could make that payment.
When signed off? Is that going to start rolling around?
November. And it was a carefully negotiated crafted agreement agreed to do. It's what complainant was. It's what included in the negotiations on the day
they just
itself.
want money.
And it was a carefully negotiated and crafted agreement. The complainant was, we have to include it in the negotiations. Getting that kind of money together is not a I understand that. We're going to pay the money. And so
it's the same problem for everybody.
We have to.
Who is a defendant?
Getting that kind of money together is not a simple task. And so
what are you asking for right now? I'm saying, please consider allowing her to modify her curfew as needed to be able to attend and transport her son for these activities. What are you asking for right now? I'm saying, please consider allowing her to modify her curfew as needed victim to be able to attend and transport her son for these activities. One's in whatever's her best interest, and the others have to do with helping the victim get their money.
It's two separate issues.
Just
separate
again, one's in victim whatever's her best interest, and the others for the victims. And we had order. And I'm not being just as soon as again, the victim is priority to that.
We understand
that test. What happened on? And we had orders. You're getting done. You can go as soon as possible. Go
that action list for a very specific reason and time frame.
And I made my decision for a good reason too.
And you did. You followed the agreement.
When are we going to get paid money? That's what I want to know. Commitment. And I made my decision for a good reason too. How much is that going to be?
You followed the agreement.
When are we going to get paid money? That's what I want to know.
Commitment. The lump sum judge will be paid.
How much is that going to be? How many installments and when and how much
of the
per
balance?
installment?
Judge, we did, that was not of whatever part of the negotiation.
I'm asking you a question. What installments and when and how much I allowed this to happen?
Judge, we did, that was not the part of the negotiation, remaining balance.
I'm asking you a question, what to expect for the victim to be here. I allowed this to have consistent payments.
Divide the remaining balance
after this. What's going to be consistent? What are we expecting in consistent payments?
Judge, I have a calculation.
Does the sheet after this? Does she know? What's the master plan gets paid in November? Making an income.
Judge, I have a calculation.
Does the sheet? Does she know? What's the master plan of making an income? Great loss.
Thank you.
Especially the victim has a right to know where it's. What's the amount of interest bearing when we're talking about repayments, rate loss, dollar for dollar, which means they lose every day since value on their money. They're not an interest bearing repayment. It's dollar for dollar, which means they lose every day value on their money.
The question is no longer whether the money is out. When the victim is finally going to see the court, her promises explanations and a $50 payment, but the judge wants something much more. concrete a real repayment plan. And now we're left with one major unanswered question: where is the rest of the nearly $500,000? Do you think the court should demand an immediate payment schedule? Or
Okay,
should the
where's
defendant
this
be given
sum
more
coming
time
from
to get
that
the
we're
funds
waiting
together?
on?
Because after waiting this long, the victim deserves more than another.
It's complicated, Judge.
We are still, okay, where's this sum coming from that we're waiting on? Almost $500,000 is lost. If you add up
It's
just
complicated,
interest
Judge,
on
and
that amount of money that's been lost by the victim, it adds up to a ton.
Have it on the record.
Probably $100,000
On
or more.
YouTube.
But I want the person paid back.
These contacts. Each of them know that. See, you know, I know that. I'm just. We always come to state people. How you doing? Well, that was one fine stretch.
They just walk in, they just missed you.
What was it?
Judge, we have made a request about a couple of items and you can clarify.
All right, 22-41053 is called the state of Texas versus Sabrina Gallery. Back in May, the defendant pleaded guilty and was placed on probation and a large restitution amount.
Yes, Judge. And what our agreement, Judge, just to refresh the court's memory, what our agreement was that she would have 6 months, I believe, to make a substantial, I want to say $150,000 payment. And then 125. And that she would have, once she made that lump sum payment, then she would make monthly payments going forward from there. I think that maybe wasn't adequately communicated to probation as part of our agreement. And so we wanted to just clarify that with probation, that was our agreement. Obviously, given the nature of the sum.
How you gonna do? Good? Okay. Because if you say it, you'll be fine. But go ahead.
Right, given the nature of the sum, Judge, that was part of our agreement, was to give her 6 months to go with that.
Yes.
And so we just wanted to clarify with probation. We had 2 other requests regarding her geographic restriction and her curfew. So wanted to address.
Go ahead.
Judge,
It's in this memo, right?
Yes.
Okay, then I've highlighted it.
Okay. So just to summarize though, her son plays in the band that plays at high school football games on Friday nights. And so we're asking the court to give her permission to be the transportation for her son to and from those games, obviously given the schedule to probation so that they'll know when it is and what it is. And she would be in compliance with appropriate times to attend those games. And then the other request relates to her work arrangement. She lives right on the border of Jefferson County and Chambers County. And so we're asking the court for permission for her to be able to travel within Jefferson County, obviously, where she lives, but also the contiguous counties around Jefferson County without having to give day-to-day probation permission.
Does she have a job that she's working at that she has to travel for?
She's delivering as a second job, doing deliveries with favor. And she just said, you are also don't get to predict where the people's homes are going to be. So,
All right. Has anything been paid toward restitution?
She made one payment on the 6th in the amount of $52.
All right. Where to begin? One thing is, was this whole thing was fashioned. She's placed on deferred or unadjudicated probation for embezzling almost $500,000. This money was lost beginning over a decade ago. We don't charge interest, which the feds do. And I'd always, when I was in the federal government, I thought that was a more fair way of treating victims. But we are still, 12 years have passed, almost $500,000 is lost. If you add up just interest on that amount of money that's been lost by the victim, it adds up to a ton. Probably $100,000 or more. But I want the person paid back. They're not getting interest. And we're waiting on your terms. I don't like it. I don't like it. I don't feel sorry for you. I feel sorry for the victims in here. And I'm not satisfied that you're serious about this. But once again, you've made $50 payment in 12 years of loss. You were pilfering back in 2014 from these people. You can sense it. I'm not happy. I feel sorry for them. And I don't feel like my job is being done effectively when victims do not get reimbursed expediently. What are we waiting on?
Judge, it was a carefully crafted agreement.
What are we waiting on?
The funds to put the funds together so that we could make that payment.
When is that going to start rolling around?
November. That was when we had planned to do it. That's what we agreed to do. It's what we put on record. It's what the court signed off on the day of sentencing. And it was a carefully negotiated and crafted agreement. The complainant was included in the negotiations.
They just want money.
I understand, Judge, and we're going to pay the money, but we have to. Getting that kind of money together is not a simple task, and so
it's the same problem for everybody who is a defendant who owes. They've got to figure it out. I would ask you, what are you asking for right now? I'm saying, please consider allowing her to modify her curfew as needed to be able to attend and transport her son for these activities. Okay.
For football games, for band.
What does that have to do with helping the victim get their money?
It's two separate issues, Judge. They're totally separate issues.
One's in whatever's her best interest, and the other's for the victims. And I'm not being just again, the victim is priority to them.
We understand.
And we have orders here to get them done as soon as possible. That test, what happened on it?
Oh, he's good.
You can go. Go ahead.
We fashioned this for a very specific reason and time frame.
And I made my decision for a good reason too.
And you did. You followed the agreement that we asked.
When are we going to get paid money? That's what I want to know. A commitment.
The lump sum, Judge, will be paid in November.
How much is that going to be?
$125,000.
Then what?
And then we'll make regular payments of the balance.
Of what?
Of whatever the balance is.
Well, how many installments and when and how much per installment?
Judge, that was not part of the negotiation. It was.
I'm asking you a question, what to expect for the victim here, since I allowed this to happen.
Divide the remaining balance.
Okay. What's going to be consistent? What are we expecting in consistent payments for the victim after this? I mean, this lump sum gets paid in November.
Judge, I have a calculation.
Does she know? What's the master plan of making an income?
Thank you.
The victim has a right to know what's to expect when we're talking about this great loss, especially since it's not an interest-bearing repayment. It's dollar for dollar, which means they lose every day value on their money they've lost.
After 12 years, the question is no longer whether the money is out. It's when the victim is finally going to see the courthouse. heard promises, explanations, and a $50 payment, but the judge wants something much more. Concrete, a real repayment plan. And now we're left with one major unanswered question: where is the rest of the nearly $500,000? Do you think the court should demand an immediate payment schedule? Or should the defendant be given more time to get the funds together? Because after waiting this long, the victim deserves more than another promise.